We got enough? All right. All right, it is 5:30. It is Monday, August 18th, 2025. We'll call our special meeting to order and start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next we'll have the roll call.
Okay, Simonson, Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Collister,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Alinger,
Yes.
Bennett. Yes.
All right, next, can we get approval for tonight's agenda?
So moved. Second.
And a motion by Collister, seconded by Lyon. And if we have no discussion, take the roll.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Collister,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Alinger,
Yes.
Bennett. Yes.
All right.
Simonson.
Yes.
All right, we get to the meat of the meeting here. It's a work session with the Iowa Economic Development Authority staff. It's regarding the City of Maquoketa downtown assessment. So,
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just going to do a light introduction. And I don't know, you've done several of these, but I guess my only comment to this is that this is focused to, you've come this far as a community, focus is downtown. Okay, what are the next series of things that could possibly move you along and we can use as a guiding plan for a number of different things. So think creatively, please don't be shy. I didn't hear anything that was out of line today. Not to say that anyone could cross that barrier, but I'm sure the planners have heard a lot from other communities and can offer you some insight. But we have a half hour to eat here, so and I would personally love some good guidance and strategic conversation with you all along the way. So pass it to you, Carol, and you guys can make introductions.
Are we okay to sit here, or do you want?
Why don't I get a mic for you? So these all end up on YouTube, and the sound's connected to the system.
Hi, thank you, Josh. Appreciate that introduction. I'm Carol Lilly with the Iowa Downtown Resource Center. In our essence of time, I'm going to keep things short, but as Josh said, we are here to learn from you, understand what priorities are for your downtown community, and we're going to have a public meeting on Wednesday to kind of share what we've learned, and then we'll come back with a written report within 4 to 6 weeks, kind of giving our assessment and some ideas and taking what we've learned here. We did a survey to start things off. We had over 300 respondents to that survey, so we'll have some thoughts on what's from the local community as well. Again, so my name is Carol Lilly, and I'm going to pass it down to the rest of our team.
Good evening. My name is Britton Jones. I'm a landscape architect, and a lot of my work focuses on urban design and placemaking. So happy to be here and be in conversation with you.
I'm Chris Patrick. I am the Executive Director of Main Street Atumwa in Atumwa. I've been with Main Street and working with the IEDA for 13 years, and thanks for having us.
My name is Steve Freevert. I'm the Executive Director of the Historic Valley Junction Foundation in West Des Moines. Also, like Chris, a Main Street organization. Been working on downtown redevelopment for several decades now. And again, thank you so much for allowing us to visit with you.
Okay, I'm going to open it up with a question, and you each only get 2 words, all right? So the first question is, what one word do you feel represents Maquoketa's identity? The second question is, what one word do you want to represent Maquoketa's identity in the future?
Let's start with Corey.
Ooh.
The first word is first. Let's see here. I would say first word would be rare, just with, you know, the aspects of where we're at, you know, 2 large towns, river, you know, things like that. And then where I'd like it to be, or the word for it to be. Like on the map, more bigger, I guess guess more things to come, things like that, I guess.
Me? Okay. First word, identifying Maquoketa, not having been born and raised here, but not far from here, is caves. Maquoketa Caves is probably the biggest draw over, well, the 70 years that I've been on this earth. And secondly, what I want to see, activity. Activity to become the new and bigger draw for Maquoketa.
All right, I would say, currently, I would say home represents its ID, identification, and for future, I would destination.
Unique and vibrant.
Could you ask those questions again, please?
So the first question, what one word do you feel represents Maquoketa's identity? And then the second one is, what one word do you want to represent the identity in the future?
How about growing for the first one and growth for the second?
Tom, did you want to say anything? Oh, well, he kind of stole my words. I would call it home and growing.
My first word would be aging, and I'm going to mirror what vibrant is what I'd like it to be.
Okay, they stole mine. It's kind of stuck on last. But I'm going to go with small. And I'd like to see refreshing.
Thank you. Made significant financial investments in the downtown area over the past several years, kind of using that 2020 vision. What's your next, from your perspective, from a city investment, where's the next most important place to place your dollars as it relates to downtown?
You want us to go
Yeah,
out of
I mean, who would you like to lead this? That's,
money? Where you want us to see
Where,
money?
yes, from an investment standpoint. What priorities do you have for your next downtown investment? How about that, to rephrase that question?
I'm going to go with roads. I mean, I know we have a plan for that, but a lot of the complaints I hear are, the number one complaint are our roads.
How about the rest of you?
I think it's a tough question, considering we've invested a lot of money in the downtown in the last several years, and the community's looking more towards outside the downtown space. So the best question would be, where would be the best next place to put community money? So for me, that's a hard question to answer.
And we can broaden that scope to outside of downtown as well.
I think it just extends out to the south, and all the entrances are where we really need to spend our money and make it someplace when you drive into the community. You get to the heart of the community, it looks great, but you get outside on the edges, that's where we start to struggle.
I would agree with that.
Yep.
I'm a genius, Tom.
I think one thing that we have going is a 10-year road plan. And the roads that, like Josh said, around away from downtown, there's a lot of roads that are beat up pretty bad. We need to continue working on our plan and get those done when we can afford to.
I would like to see some more unique businesses coming into town to bring some of that tourism in just the everyday resident that would visit those businesses.
We need jobs at the end of the day. You need good paying jobs in your community. That's what is the heartbeat of your community, is we need good paying jobs. About 4 years ago, the city redid our fiber optic line so we could bring technology-based jobs in here. We've heard nothing ever since we put that fiber in. There'd be no reason why Maquoketa couldn't have like a Sedgwick or
something like an insurance-based technology placed where that mathematics would look really good on our tax rolls for sales. Like I said, we've got the fiber, we've got everything to do it, we just don't see any jobs coming to town, and I don't understand why. So if I were to put money into it, I would put into bringing technology-based jobs to this community so our kids wouldn't have to leave and everybody could stay here and thrive. That's what it's gonna take.
Who's responsible for business recruitment?
Jackson County Economic Alliance, the Chamber of Commerce, and my desk. A combination of the three. We also have a commercial broker that's employed for the purpose of marketing our industrial land property. And we usually get about 2 to 3 significant inquiries per year on those projects. But, you know, we talked about the contractor suites sale today. We talked about Mississippi Valley Metals. We did have a press release a couple years ago from a liquid manure fertilizer processor that was going to be making biochar out of dairy-based manure. I think that one may or may not happen at this point. It's just kind of one of those things that they've had some funding stripped from their capital stack. So we've continued to be available to them every time they've wanted to continue chatting. But I'm really sort of relying on broker help and others being available for expansion when it's needed. To answer the kind of the bigger question involved with this, I anticipate that we'll be switching brokers soon. And it's not that the one we're currently using has had a poor performance, but we just are thinking about maybe the next step in generating new interest and new energy on a listing. It's been a few years at this point, and we're also going to be attached to Greater Dubuque Development Corporation and some low-level membership so that we can remain tied to that market as well. I think what you see in Dubuque currently is that their topography is extremely limited at this point for how well they've expanded, and you're starting to see inquiries in that organization fall into Keeler, to Dyersville, and there's no reason we shouldn't be on their list as a member. So it's kind of the direction we're heading in now. I'm faithful and convinced eventually it will happen. It's just, I don't think that we're going to get a home run 300-person employer. There's going to be warehousing and distribution type hits here.
I think one of the things that we've seen and we experience is just the shift in how the recruitment goes for businesses. People are looking at a community where their employees want to live and focusing on those quality of life amendments that are going to draw the employee base that is going to demand, be that driver, because labor is hard to find. It's hard to recruit people, especially in an aging state with aging population. You have done some really wonderful things from a quality of life aspect. There are so many good pockets of things that have that you have going on. So I applaud you for that. I'm going to pass this down because I don't want to dominate all the questions here. But
So how do you see the city's responsibility in creating that successful downtown? And what do you see a successful downtown looking like? Like a specific example. A two-parter, of course, right?
One thing I heard today when the groups were coming through talking with you guys was the price of rent. And the rent downtown is awfully high. I can't, or the numbers they were given were awfully high. I can't say whether that's market rate but it sounded high to me. And I don't know if there's any way we can come up with a way to maybe get that rent rate down a little bit, but that seems to be one of the bigger impedances to getting downtown.
Thank you, Mayor. Anybody else?
Yeah, you definitely have to fill the stores down there. To Caroline's comments, whether it's a small restaurant or a shop or something that's driving people to get down there, you know. There's already other things that keep people down there, but you gotta throw some oddball things out there that nobody else has.
I just think more downtown events would just draw more people. The more people that are drawn to downtown are gonna attract some additional businesses and that sort of thing.
We keep investing and we keep being promised all that stuff every time we make an initial investment. So I don't know what the answer is. We spent $5 million on a streetscape. We're spending $1 million on this thing. I mean, I don't know that there's an answer. It seems like
You have to have some niche somewhere, or you have to have some reason to pull people in. We have the caves, but it doesn't seem to, I don't know, garner the attention to the downtown that I feel like it should. Maybe we don't have the right number of restaurants or what, but it's frustrating as a council person.
I think the mayor is right when he talked about the rent, because I know people who've had businesses and they've rented and they lose their business. They have to fold because they can't afford the rent. So there's got to be a way to work around that so we can keep those businesses going.
I mean, I don't know what the dollar is, but I can't imagine people are, I mean, obviously they're sitting empty.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're charging for rent, but at some point you would rather fill your business than let it sit there. So I just can't imagine that if you were to compare us to other areas, we always have this stigma of, well, it's Maquoketa and we're not, you know what I'm saying? So
But you have to also stop and think about how much materials cost to redo stuff. I mean, as a landlord, and I am one, it's almost cheaper to let your house sit empty and not let somebody come in and trash it or whatever.
yeah,
Or
but you bring a renter into a downtown business, they generally do the modifications.
it all depends on what the lease would say. A lot of times they try to put that back on the landlord, but I mean, it's tough out there. Either way you look at it, it's not a lot of money.
Well, I think the improvements in the downtown are obvious, especially with what you're doing with the green space. It's really spectacular. So I can't wait to come back sometime in the future and see what it's going to look like. Have you thought about how you're going to program that park space from a city standpoint, or is that going to be a responsibility of a different entity?
State that again, please.
So the green space that's turning into a park that's under construction, who will be the entity that's programming that space in the future? Is there somebody that's going to be in charge of that?
We don't anticipate any procedural change in terms of public event management and approving those. So what will occur is it'll be part of our routine trash pickup and treated like a park. There's kind of an operations and maintenance cost question, I think, associated to the answer. And we expect some amount of fundraising to still be left over after construction of the project, and the Betterment Corporation's agreed to keep that in endowment and pay for operations and maintenance of the park as it comes up. So that will offer us some financial assistance with the ongoing maintenance of that park.
She's talking
But
about the
what's the
programming. I
question
would say
was like,
hometown pride.
like who's running, who's like bringing concerts? and
Events coordinator.
Who's coordinating events there, I think is what the question is.
Yes.
That'd be like
and-
hometown pride. I
Yeah,
would
better,
imagine.
Maquoketa Betterment is handle all of the concerts for the most part, but that space as it's exists, anybody can file for an event permit and use it for whatever, so.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, Josh.
I'm going to follow up a little bit, and a few people have already touched on this, and it's again a two-parter. Do you feel like the public as a whole is in favor of the investment that the city has made in downtown improvements? So that's part A. And part B is, do you think there's interest and public will in continuing those investments?
I don't think there's poor will or ill will about the investments that have been done there. I think they would continue to support it if
If we continue
you
to
can
see
measure
growth.
something's you know what I'm saying? There's no measurable right now. We spent all that money and seem to be on the right track for businesses, and we're right back to me almost to square one before we did the streetscape. And I was a business owner on Main Street when we had the streetscape. You know, I went through that 2 years of no income, and it felt like we were making momentum, and then there just hasn't been any gain, in my opinion. We have some good businesses like the brewery, but we haven't filled up. We lost the main restaurant that was downtown, you know. We still have the Chinese, and we have Copper Cardinal now. So there's been some things, but not sustainable. It hasn't been sustainable, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's all been well received. I think we struggle with what's next. I mean, as you sort of have already touched on, we've invested a lot downtown, but I'm not sure we know what's next.
I think everybody in the community enjoys what we've done downtown. I mean, even with this new concert stage just coming to the green space, I think what's done downtown, I think for the most people, most people enjoy it. They like coming downtown to the concerts and like the summer concert series. They like having restaurants downtown and they like having it as a gathering spot there. So over the last, 8 years or whatever, I think the community at first was apprehensive, but I think most of them are on board with what we've done over the last 8 to 10 years. I rarely hear any complaints about it. I mean, every once in a while, you hear when something new comes, you'll hear somebody complain about it. But like to what those guys were saying, we really don't know what the next thing is we could do for downtown. Because I mean, we put a lot into it in the last 8 years. I mean, streets and, like I said, this concert thing and everybody's gathering. I mean, 10 years ago, you wouldn't have found 3 cars on Main Street on a Friday night. And now you'll easily find 3 cars on Main Street. So,
Maybe even 4.
I mean, I made sure of it. Even before I ran for council, I drove around the city every Friday night. I would drive up Main Street just to see. And like, that's before the facade program and everything. And you literally had 2 cars on Main Street. It was a ghost town. It truly was. And now, I mean, you don't have that now. So whether it be, I mean, even if they're just going to the tobacco store or whatever, going to get a beer or whatever, you have at least 10 cars on Main Street on Friday nights. And that's all you can ask for from this chair anyway. Seeing it, that's growth to me. So I guess I feel that everybody's pretty happy with what we've done for the most part. But what the next step is, your guess is as good as ours. It truly is.
Well, we'll come back with some ideas. I will say that.
Right.
That's part of why we're here. But that said, I think just understanding how the council views downtown as a priority is important to us as well. But from a focus point, because what's measurable objectives, really understanding the numbers of downtown, who tracks that? Like the chamber, the betterment group? Is there one entity that you would say has downtown top of mind all the time? If so, who would that be?
I would assume the chamber would be the best answer of what we have right now.
Yeah. I think they're spread pretty thin too, though. Our city manager, he keeps a good eye on it, probably better than anybody, to be honest with you. But for actually having somebody to have be their job to do, I would say the chamber, if that. But like I said, they're spread pretty thin with other stuff. So I mean, I don't know, maybe the Economic Alliance, but I don't know.
So it sounds like there's elements of components, different people paying attention to different things, perhaps. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Carol, with the fundraising on that question, kind of building some version of a data deck that helps out a potential person giving. We had to kind of map out our events registered at the space prior to us really creating that brochure or that kind of that pitch. And I don't have it right in front of me, but it was an upward trend with the exception of the COVID year in both estimated attendance at each event and number of events too. So the case was fairly clear that this is something that's becoming generally accepted across Maquoketa, and let's take this good thing we're doing and make it great. So in terms of downtown activity, that was at least one signal to what we're talking about, and that gets drawn from City Hall files on registered events, as well as chamber detail, or us calling the Coronado Car Club leaders and saying how many people come to your event and doing a bit of surveying in that way.
Thank you.
So that brings me to another thought about tracking statistics in the downtown, and this goes toward housing. I know that you're looking at different ways to create more housing so you can have people move to your community. How do you see the city being involved in any housing tracking or development in the downtown?
There's certainly a lot more people living downtown than there were 10 years ago. All the upper story grants and stuff that we've given out. I mean, you see a lot more activity sort of after hours and stuff, at least I do. So I think that's great. And I think they did an inventory not that long ago of how many housing units were like within a few blocks of downtown. It was like 110. It was like crazy. So
have you been tracking to know how many people are now living in those 110 units?
Not since that study.
Not since that study, but at that study, they were nearly all occupied. So
Wonderful,
And
all right.
there's very few buildings that have like potential for upstairs housing that aren't already sort of doing that, right? There's maybe a few that I can think of.
We took him through Joe Silkel's upper story housing conversions today, and that man just does not get enough credit for how incredible of a build he put inside of there, and it's just stunning. And I think there was a lot of awe in what's possible if you actually commit to a space like that. And he's rented. It's really impressive.
Doesn't our, excuse me, doesn't our new building inspector, she keeps track, I know Brad always did, kept track of what was rental, what was owner, what was unoccupied, what was occupied. I'm not sure if our new building inspector keeps the same tally.
She does. She's, I think this also comes down to she's 2 months in.
Yeah.
And she kind of described that same thing to the group today, but she's getting a little faster on the treadmill and increasing speed, and looking forward to seeing what else she can do along the way, and she'll have that experience. It's been kind of funny in the office. Jan and I, less than 4 years in, feel like we're the infrastructural history knowledge all of a sudden. So, and Teresa, sorry, Teresa.
I'm good.
So we're down to our last 5 minutes, so I'm going to throw it to you. Are there any questions that you have for us, or anything you would like to see in particular us address if we don't have time to discuss it in the 5 minutes that we have that you would like feedback on?
Do you guys have tools that we could utilize to bring those businesses here?
Yes. Short answer, yeah. We can include a lot of that information in our packet that we send back, so absolutely.
Awesome, thank you.
Council, they won't confirm it with me, but they're probably going to talk a lot about citywide communication and how to draw people and how to get a centralized calendar together so everyone's really well informed of activities and how to generate downtown interest. And I can tell you, this is moving towards a path of having some really actionable things behind it. If you're sitting here in your seat and wanting better communication to engage our people, but also people that might be curious about what to do on a free weekend that might be within a half-hour drive of here, what are you picturing in your minds as a platform for communicating with the market potential that could come to downtown for various things? Because I heard visibility, heard vibrant, heard growth. A lot of keywords are starting to fall into, I think, what they'll eventually be working on. But, what are your thoughts on how something should look?
We're already spending money with JCA and the chamber. To me, that's their job.
Mm-hmm.
If we're gonna continue to give them money, then to me, that's I think at Dubuque, they have a great chamber. DeWitt, I hate to use that city's name, but they have the same thing going on. They have a vibrant, I'll use the word vibrant, like that's their job, and they do the job.
Mm-hmm.
So how better to communicate, I think. And seriously, that is a very valid question, because we use social media, we use the newspapers, we use the radio. I don't know how better to communicate. Word of mouth is great, but, it comes down to you forget stuff and all of a sudden you're gone or something, and.
Yeah, but all our information's all over the place.
Exactly. I think we need a central location.
Trying to find something on the Groundtown Green Space, if I go to Hometown Pride's Facebook page, it's not on the cities. You gotta know where to seek the information. It's not like there's a central, and to me, that's the chamber's job. I think that's their job, is to provide all that kind of information and give people a place to go when they wanna find something.
So
I don't go to the city's Facebook page to look for that stuff. I don't think that's the city's role.
Correct.
To be perfectly honest, I'm not on Facebook. I will go online
Yeah.
to
But you
the
don't see it
chamber
there
and
either,
look,
yeah.
because I know they send out informational packets to businesses and whatnot of what's going on, so I will look there. But you're right, it's sometimes difficult to pull information and find
I
it.
think the chamber's current email, that they send out, each week is probably the best that it's ever been. It really has almost so much information that you get tired of scrolling, but I think they're doing a really good job, and it's just like, how do you get that out so that people, you know, who don't subscribe to that email list, you know, if you're in Dubuque and you're thinking, I wanna go to Maquoketa, like, how do you know, where do you go to find?
Couldn't they make that available on their webpage, that newsletter?
It
Like
might
everybody
be, I
gets-
don't, I'm just
It
saying it's
probably
spread out
is, right?
everywhere.
I just,
It is.
It is,
just
okay.
lands in my email box and.
But here again, what better way to push that information out? To me, it's maybe the chamber, but we also need some dedicated locations, so to speak. So do we create a visual kiosk or something, you know, that they're gonna see it? Because I know they're talking about that for the green space, that, you know, verbiage, awareness. When people drive through town, they should be able to see. So could that potentially be something that we look at, maybe putting at one of,
We have a couple kiosks, I'm pretty sure there was the
Well, that
one
was the whole
downtown.
point in that thing we built on that.
Yeah, I mean,
thing
there's,
at
there
one
was a
point, but
kiosk
nothing gets
downtown.
updated.
I mean, an electronic kiosk.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
And we've
That could
got
have
one
been there.
coming
Yes.
to Clovic Park. and I
Correct.
think that will be a wonderful
And to
addition
me,
for sure.
that would be something that could potentially, I don't know the cost associated with, you know, maybe at some of our entrances into Maquoketa, you have a kiosk that continually scrolls. I don't know. It's a thought. It's one way of getting information out that, you know, if somebody sees something, they go, oh, you know, and then they will look and scroll themselves.
You heard enough, Carol?
I have. I keep looking at you because I know
Oh.
we're in the hard
Sorry.
stuff.
Okay.
So I would like to just close and just say thank you. Thank you for taking the time, for coming early, and for visiting with us. We truly appreciate it. And more importantly, you guys have a thankless job sometimes. So thank you for being council people and leading in your community. And you too, Mr. Mayor. So thank you for that.
Thank you guys for coming.
For
Yeah,
coming.
thank you guys for coming.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? We're adjourned.
So too.